Hi. I have a confession to make, and not many people know this. But we have to rewind the clocks back a bit. Back to maybe 2012 or so. Way back when poker for me was more a hobby than anything else, and the poker vlog wasn't a thing. Back then, I collected Funko Pop. I'm sure you've seen the little figurines around various stores, right? Well, back then they were pretty hard to find, and I collected them wherever I could. If you go back to shots of my earliest vlogs, you may even see them all over my office. They were taking over that house in St. Louis. I pretty much stopped actively collecting them in 2018, but at that point, I had more than 2,000 of these things. Some common ones, some uber rare ones, some were $10, and some were thousands. In fact, I still have them here in Vegas, in boxes. You may wonder why I'm telling you this. Well, often in my vlog wrap-ups, you can see some rare ones in the background behind me. Apparently, that got noticed by a director at Funko named Justin. And, well, he sent me custom Funko Pops of me, Lily, and Jada. I know, I'm a nerd, but this information comes into play later in this vlog. We're back at the Encore. We were here yesterday in the card deadest session of all time. Let's hope that doesn't happen today, because on the docket today is firing. We're gonna fire. We are on the list for 2-5. We're on the list for 5-10. We're on the list for 5-10-20. We're on the list for 10-20-40. We're on all the lists. We're firing today. Let's hope. Calling into a poker room before arriving is always the move. When I arrived at the Encore, I was already first on the 2-5 list and second on the 5-10 list. I got seated in a 2-5 game right away. In one of the first hands, I raised to $90 from the button over a low jack open and high jack flat with 8-9 suited. Should I be doing this with this hand? Probably not, but I got no resistance. Everyone folds. In the hand following that one, I see the low jack limp, the high jack raised to $15, and I re-raised to $50, this time from the cutoff, and I get cold called by the small blind and the original limper. The high jack comes along as well. Few things to note here. The limper has a pocket pair already, guaranteed. The high jack probably has garbage. I'm not worried about his holdings at all. The small blind, though? If at the top of his range, I'm looking at someone that doesn't really know what to do with a hand like tens or jacks, and doesn't feel comfortable 4-betting, and doesn't like the idea of folding them. At the bottom, maybe he's getting sticky with 5s or ace-x suited. Be that as it may, we head to this flop 4 ways. The flop of Jack 10-9 doesn't excite me in the least. When everyone checks to me, I see little reason to c-bet. I check behind. The turn 4 club should be a complete blank. The small blind disagrees and fires $125 into this $200 pot. The low jack calls, which might be big trouble, and the high jack folds. I have 2 overcards and a gut shot to the nuts, but this sizing, this is sometimes what a player does when they feel like they missed a street of value. They come overly large on the next street to try to recoup. In addition, the low jack calling is just scary. I fold. The hand continues with the deuce of diamonds being revealed as the river card. The small blind now down bets, almost comically. He bets $50, and after some tanking, the low jack folds. About 5 minutes pass, and here the under the gun player, a friend of mine and a good reg, opens to $15. This bet is flattered by the button and the small blind. I look down at Ace King Black and squeeze to $105. I'm not overly surprised when the under the gun player quickly calls. His opening ranges are pretty solid, and I wouldn't expect him to be opening light here. On the same token, he knows that he is far ahead of the hands I'm potentially squeezing with. I doubt he's flatting with aces or kings with 2 players still behind him, but queens, jacks, tens, suited aces, etc. are all possible holdings. The button flats as well, but we lose the small blind. 3-handed to another flop. Jack 9-4 rainbow this time. Again, nothing going on for me here, and out of position versus 2 players, I check. Under the gun stabs for $100, and at this point the floor comes over to tell me that my 5-10 seat is available, just as the button is calling the $100. I fold. While racking up, I watch the remainder of this hand play out. The under the gun player bets $300 when the 10 of hearts hits the turn, and the button shoves his remaining stack into the middle of the felt. Probably about $575, which gets quickly called. Jacks? Yeah. I turn to my friend and guess that he has jacks. He says, yeah. A non-consequential 5 of spades is revealed on the river, his jacks are exposed, and the button just mucks his hand. So now we're off to color up these chips and join a different game. There was already a full 5-10 game running, but the list was getting long, and so a must-move 5-10 game was open. Like I've said before, these games are fun and lively, and often conversations sometimes go off the rails. 50s, 1940s,
yeah, they're like,
men. Yeah.
No, he's like, you're never gonna find a husband until you learn how to cook.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another fun part about Texas games is they say whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody at this table is like 4 bad rivers away from being a sex worker. What are you talking about?
In like some obscure place. Like,
okay. Yeah.
Arkansas.
yeah.
Yeah, Arkansas, they
That's
500K for like
Arkansas.
glacial.
I guess that's like Wyoming too. But Wyoming's super expensive, right? Because of Jackson Hole or something now. I heard. I don't know.
Are you watching the Jordan ESPN documentary?
Yeah. Last Stand?
First time watching.
No, I've seen this like 15 times.
He's comfort watching. Y'all are making him nervous.
No, I put on my headphones when I'm sick of hearing white people. I see you. Oh, they're talking about Wyoming now. Wyoming.
Vote off the island.
It's all Texas and Wyoming and Arkansas over here, Chin. In between all the hilarious conversation, though, there was some poker being played.
On my wins got you bugging, cause I know you see my back when I'm running. Yeah, MVP got me stunning. I ain't worked this hard for nothing. Yeah, watch how I move. Watch how I put it on cruise. I hit different, can't do what I do. Okay, watch how I move. Big talk is on deck, don't snooze. All that talk, you better come in and lose. Yeah, watch how I move. Yeah, watch how I move. Yeah, watch how I move. Okay, watch how I move. Yeah, watch how I move. Yeah, watch how I move. Yeah, okay, I'll make my text, I'll make a moves. I can't hesitate. Shooting like Curry, shooting that 3 on them. Let's celebrate. Okay, you say you got it off that mud, but really where you stay? Reason why I let you levitate is cause you featherweight. Better get my worth, I need it all. Try to take off. Whoever they wanted first, bet you they got paid off. We ain't got no more to give. That's how they told you. Be in there, take no scratch, push that play off, take off on them bricks. I ain't never ran off. Ran through my opposition on my feet, we don't do stand off. Touchdown, how you getting on top? What's the plan, boss? You losing, don't get mad, it ain't the fans' fault. Sleeping on me, wake up. Finding me your dreams, I make you stay up. Game up on the table for your plate up. Low better get your weight up. Calling out on my haters, get your hate up. Come about your feelings, watch me lace up. Watch how I move. Watch how I put it on cruise. I hit different, can't do what I do. Okay, watch how I move. Big talk is on.
A few orbits into this game, and the table has decided to change it from a 2-blind 5-10 game to a 3-blind 5-10-20 game. Honestly, there's very little difference between the two games since we basically had the $20 straddle on anyway. In the following hand, action is folded around to me in the hijack, and I open for a pretty standard $50 with pocket tens. A few folds behind me, and the third blind asks, "Do you want action?"
You want action?
Sure. Always.
I'll give it to you.
Well, not always, but this time.
I like it.
He calls. Heads up, we see a flop of ace-ace-4. This flop is kind of a jump ball, as we both should have about the same amount of aces. Theoretically, he actually has a few more aces than I do in his range, as he's defending with some offsuit aces that I'm not opening with. Either way, it's close enough to even. He checks, and I c-bet $30, and he finds the call. The third ace on the turn pretty much makes my internal range dissection pointless. It also makes me representing an ace very hard. Well, they weren't my ruse. He checks. I check it back. The river king of hearts sucks. Namely because I don't have a king, but also because our villain needs to find bluffs. He can't just check and lose with a hand like queen jack offsuit when I might fold pocket sixes. He leads for $100 and I don't really like it, but I call. Show me. He shows both cards, but all I really see is the king. You win, sir. You win some and you lose some. Life goes on. A bit later, still playing 5-10-20, the same player opens to $50 from the hijack, and again I look down at pocket tens, this time on the button. It's a toss-up whether we 3-bet or just flat his open. Neither of the two players to my left are really squeeze happy, and the hijack is skilled enough to 4-bet and drag us into the depths with a variety of hands. We elect to just flat. The blinds get out of the way, and once again, we are heads up. I can't yet tell you about the rest of the flop, but that window card looks damn nice. My enthusiasm wanes a bit, though, when I see the remaining two cards. 10 of spades, queen of spades, deuce of spades. When he checks, as I expected he would with almost his entire range, I check it back. Matters get worse when the turn appears. It's the 6 of spades. Now the hijack leads for $40. Me raising here is not really a thing. There's really no need to turn this hand into a bluff. We call the $40 and hope the dealer can just pair the board. That would be nice. The dealer does exactly that by placing the deuce of diamonds on the river. The hijack checks once more. Now the decision isn't if I should bet, it's what amount I should bet. Should I go small or go large? With about $215 in the pot, we go for an overbet sizing, hoping to capitalize on him having a spade and me leveraging the joking banter meta that he and I have fallen into. Maybe he will take this as a bluff. 4 flush boards get bluffed a lot. He thinks about this for less than a second and folds. I might have maybe overthought my river sizing. In hindsight, I think a smaller size bet might have gotten called or even check raised. I wasn't at the must move much longer. Pretty soon, I was moved to the main game. The main game was interesting, definitely not as soft as the must move I just left, although it was just as jovial. There were some really good players in this game. MJ Gonzalez, Christian Soto, Boston Jimmy, etc. I didn't capture a lot of footage when I first sat down, which is unfortunate. But luckily for me, Boston Jimmy recorded some for his Instagram page. The beginning of the biggest hand I played in this session, I didn't capture, so I'll just have to tell you what happened. Although this game is listed as 5-10-20, for some of this session, we are playing 5-10-20-40-80. The following hand happens at that stake level. Under the gun, I look down on my hand and see pocket jacks, and immediately make a mistake. I open to $300, which is probably about $100 too large. Under the gun +1 to my direct left calls, and action folds around to the third blind. He slides in a call as well. 3 of us see a flop of 7 of spades, 3 of diamonds, deuce of spades, and the third blind checks. I bet $600 and the player on my left folds immediately. Action now is back to the third blind and he check raises all in covering me. So essentially his check raise is $2,600. I call. I'm drawing thin if he's flopped a set, and if he has spades, Well, I still have some cards to dodge on turn and river, but there's still a really, really good chance that I'm just ahead. We run it once and the dealer runs out the board. 10 of spades, 4 of spades. I know I don't have a spade. This sucks. I expose my hand, and to my surprise, our villain says, "That's good."
Watch how I move, watch how I put it on cruise. I hit different, can't do what I do. Okay, watch how I move, big talk is on deck, don't snooze. All that talk, you better come in the lows. Yeah, watch how I move. Yeah, watch how I move. Yeah, watch how I move. Okay, watch how I move. Yeah, watch how I move. Yeah, watch how I move. Watch how I move. Watch how I put it on cruise. I hit different, can't do what I do. Okay, watch how I move, big talk is on deck, don't snooze. All that talk, you better come in the lows. Yeah, watch how I move. Yeah, watch how I move. Yeah, watch how I move. Okay, watch how I move. Yeah, watch how I move. Yeah, watch how I move. Watch how I move.
Can we just play like one stand-up game? I would love to play a stand-up game. Yeah, give me 1 second.
Hey!
What's going on, man?
How you doing, man?
Good, it's good. It's nice to meet you.
Good to meet you, man.
Let's go chit chat for a little bit.
Oh, no,
Right back.
finish up. You good?
No, they're all good. I took a break from the game as Justin from Funko had arrived. We headed to the lobby bar for some adult beverages. So, some of you guys know this, some of you don't. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you should, because my man here took my visage, took Lily, took Jada, and made us custom Funko Pop dolls. I'll show you those next.
We call them figures, not
Figures.
dolls. We don't call them dolls, Jamie. You
I
should know that.
I call them dolls because I'm a real man, and a real man isn't ashamed to call them dolls. So, when you see this man bumping around Seattle, thank him for making me a figure. Figure.
Best vlog on YouTube right here.
Thanks, buddy.
When I turn, I'm like, should I just do it? Should I just do it?
Race.
Raise.
Ooh, my apologies. Out of diamond exposed.
Raise. Raise.
I thought you were hitting your face over here. That's it?
I returned to the game after that drink with Justin and played for maybe another hour or so, but nothing really happened. Honestly, I'm not a big drinker. In fact, I rarely drink. So I was feeling the effects of even that single drink I had. I thought my best move at the time was just to rack up and head out. The 5-10 game I played, the 5-10 game I was playing in quickly became 5-10-20, which quickly became 5-10-20-40, which then turned into 5-10-20-40, sometimes 80. And to say that I ran better than decent in that game would be an understatement. I won a big pot early on with ace-jack suited. I doubled up with pocket jacks on a 7-high flop, and I won another sizable pot with pocket jacks, flopping a set versus my man Boston Jimmy. So, a good first foray into the 5-10, 20, 40, 80 streets. But now we have other things to do tonight. I'm going to get into those things, and who knows, maybe we'll come back and we'll play a little bit later. Sorry I didn't capture any of the hands. At Encore, 5-10-20's on the menu. That's it. Let's go.
3, 2, 1, it's a celebration. Had to go SpaceX for the elevation. And they can't come close to the dedication. Everybody on your feet for the ovation. Come again, where you been? What's the situation? Picking up on my sin, I'm a sensation. Keeping it 100 bands. Call me Ben Franklin. I'm just trying to do me, here's a demonstration. Aim high, swing for the fence. Tell me who you know could do it like this. Got them all like that. 3, 2, all the way. You can tell by the look on their face. Got them all like
The world is my oyster. I have no idea what I'm going to do, but right now, things are... It can become kind of tricky, kind of treacherous to be dancing around with king-queen offsuit. Sorry to disappoint you, but I didn't mess up that many times this time. Not that many. Near perfect.
GG.
'50s, 1940s,
Yeah, they're like,
man. Yeah.
No, he's like, you're never gonna find a husband till you learn how to cook.
Yeah. In the most card-deadiest session of all time, let's not hope that. When I said that some of these $10 purchases are worth thousands now, I wasn't exaggerating. That headless net on the right sells for about $2,000, and I have a couple of them. Production on most of my collection stopped over 10 years ago, and the most I ever paid for a pop was about $40.
I'm capturing this video for posterity only. I really don't think that today's session is going to be a vlog. If it does become a vlog, there's not going to be really any hands in it because my phone was dead for most of the session and I didn't record any hands. Really? It does.
Yeah, what's wrong?
Yeah, that ain't bad.
What's wrong with that?
Cough drop is candy in a pinch.
Is there one left?
You're not wrong. Yeah, yeah, in a pinch. Like, you're like, oh no. Yeah.
Just a dead man walking.